This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 26th show. My goal is to keep you up to date on the latest news and trends in our local economy. Keep me tuned in and I will keep you informed. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding money or to talk with the guests that I have in studio. And I have on the phone today a special guest, Christopher Orr with Pensco Trust, and we're going to be having a conversation about investing in real estate with your retirement. Christopher, thank you so much for joining my show today.
Thank you for having me, Tina. Happy to be here.
And a little bit about Christopher. Christopher is Director, Institutional Products at Pensco since 2010 and was former financial advisor with Ameritrade. He holds his Series 7 and Series 66 licenses and is graduated of California State University in Long Beach. It'll be an interesting conversation for my listeners with the guests I have here today, talking about real estate with investing with your retirement dollars. So, Christopher, what are the advantages of using an IRA to invest in real estate?
Well, Tina, there's a handful of advantages. First of all, there's nothing like having a great cash positive investment in a tax qualified account like an IRA or a Roth IRA. But here at Pensco, we're firm believers in telling our clients and our potential clients that they should always invest in what they know and love. And real estate's something that everyone can relate to and everyone's familiar with and can see. Another great thing about investing in real estate is diversification with the volatility in the market. A lot of people are over the 100-point swings every day and want to take, their retirement into their own hands and invest in something that they can control and take it off the market. So that's another reason that people really do find using their IRA to invest in real estate rewarding.
So what is the basic difference between a traditional and a Roth IRA, Christopher?
Sure. So anyone with an earned income who's younger than 70 and a half can contribute to a traditional IRA. Roth IRAs, however, have income restrictions. The other difference is that traditional IRAs are taxed after they're deposited, so you're taxed on the distributions, whereas Roths are taxed before they go into the account. And most times when when the money is coming out, there's no taxation then. So there's a tax difference and income contribution differences.
Okay. And what about the rules for investing your IRA into real estate?
Sure. So there's a couple things, couple nuances, really. So there are prohibited transactions and disqualified parties, which we'll get into in a second. But otherwise, you can't buy from yourself or another prohibited person. You can't use IRA as collateral for a personal loan. Little things like the deed will be vested in the custodian's name. For example, if I were to buy a piece of property in my IRA here at Pensco, the deed would read Pensco Trust Company for the benefit of Christopher Orr instead of Christopher Orr outright. So the IRA is actually the owner of the investment for the benefit of the individual investor. Some other things, all the expenses and cash flows of that property would have to flow through the IRA. So again, because the IRA is the owner, all the rent that you're collecting or all the income that you're collecting from that piece of property flow back into the IRA. Same thing if you were to have an expense in the IRA or expense in the property, the IRA would have to pay for that expense. And that again is because the IRA is the actual owner of record for the benefit of the client. So there's some little nuanced stuff like that.
It makes sense. So what you've mentioned, the prohibited transaction, what is that?
So there are prohibited transactions, and these are things that the IRS has deemed as either disqualified parties or actions that the IRS prohibits. And so something like self-dealing is one example. and this would be trying to buy your own house and then have your IRA purchase a house that you already own. So you can't buy from yourself.
That makes sense.
Or you couldn't buy your parents' house or your wife's house. There's things called commingling, where if your IRA is the record of owner and you start paying for the roof leak or a remodel or something with taxable dollars, you're commingling your taxable money with your qualified money. That's a prohibited transaction.
Okay, so what? Oh, go ahead, Christopher.
Yeah, there's also disqualified parties, and this is kind of in your family tree.
Okay.
You can't move up and down, right? So your parents, your children, your spouses, those are all disqualified parties. Those are going up and down the family tree. You can, however, go left to right. So siblings, aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces, those people would not be disqualified parties.
Interesting. So what about the type of real estate?
So we have tons of real estate here at Pensco, and our clients have invested in all different types, everything from raw land to rental income properties to manufactured homes to public storage units, trust deeds and secured notes, parking lots. We even have folks that own timber rights and mineral rights and cypress tree farms.
Wow.
So there's really a ton of options out there. It's a space where you can get really creative.
So what if my listener has an IRA and it doesn't have enough cash in it? What are there options for them?
Absolutely. So you can do a couple different things. You can always get a non-recourse loan if you're going to be the single owner on the property. And you can get a loan. The IRA would have a loan within it. You would pay that loan back as the property becomes cash positive and it starts bringing in income. You could also split down the property. So let's say your IRA wanted to own 50% of it and another investor wanted to own the other 50%. You could do that.
Okay.
You could wrap it into a private equity vehicle like an LLC or an LP, and then you could become a member of that LLC, and then that LLC would own the property. So there's a couple different ways to do it. Which makes, it's nice to have options like that. Yeah,
and I would imagine there might be some risks attached to using leverage. What would those be, Christopher?
Yeah, there are. Like everything, you got to do your due diligence, and everything comes with its risk reward. With the non-recourse lending and getting leverage in the account, you do have to be aware of unrelated debt financed income that could be subject to tax in the property. You could, obviously you could default on the loan and then your IRA loses the investment outright. That's a risk. You want to make sure that property is cash positive, because once you take that loan out, the loan is in the IRA. And again, that IRA has to make those loan payments. So if you spend all your retirement dollars to buy this house and you find no one to rent it to, and now your IRA can't make those loan payments, then you're at risk of defaulting and losing the investment.
Got it.
So always good to be cash positive.
Yeah, so just like anything else, just really understanding what all your options are, and just as you said, benefit and risk. Now, what about the real estate expenses, and how do those work?
Sure. So again, everything has to flow through the account.
Yep.
So let's say you hire a carpenter to fix the floor or get a new water heater or whatever that may be. You're going to send the request to Pensco or to your custodian of choice, and then we're going to cut the check or send the wire or make the payment for said services. Just like when the rental incomes, the check every month is going to be sent to your property manager or straight to us, and that rent check is going to get deposited into the account. So your account is collecting this rent every month, and when expenses come out, the checks get cut out of that cash balance.
Got it. So you've got to just really make sure that you're setting this up correctly and having the cash flow, as you said.
Absolutely. And it's always really smart to have that extra cash on hand, even when you first make the purchase, because unexpected costs always come up, right?
Of course.
And so you want to make sure you're not putting yourself in a hard place by not having the capital to cover any unexpected things.
Yeah. Now, can you talk a little bit about structuring the transaction?
Yeah. So again, you can have a direct purchase, which we talked about earlier, where Pensco Trust, for the benefit of the client, would be the owner of record on the deed. You could have partnering IRAs or partners in general. So 50% owned by me, 50% owned by my partner, and those could both be IRAs. You can do using leverage again with the non-recourse loans. You could wrap it up in an LLC. You can do secured mortgage deed notes. So someone who maybe couldn't get a line of credit before, you want to give them a loan and you use their house as collateral. So there's a lot of interesting things that you can do.
Sounds like it's really creative options.
Definitely. And again, we really want to stress that people invest in what they know, and if the real estate sector is something you're familiar with, and it's almost a no-brainer out there with the craze of the market these days.
Sure. So I've got just about a minute. I've got to wrap up the show here, Christopher. What do you want to leave my listeners with when it comes to using your retirement to possibly purchase real estate?
Well, like we said, the options are almost limitless, and they're out there, and Pensco's here to make it possible for you. So follow what you want to invest in, take control of your destiny, and when you're ready to take some action, we're here to help.
Christopher, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show with me. It's been a pleasure having a conversation with you.
All right, Tina, thank you so much for having me, and have a good one.
You too. This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I look forward to talking with you more money conversation as we get into the new year. Same time, same place, right here at 1150 AM, KKNW.